Hi, and welcome to IELTS Cast episode 39. Today's episode is a very interesting look at one candidate's experience with the IELTS. They took the exam 3 times. The first 2 times they scored an overall band of 6.5. The third attempt they scored an overall band of 8. And that band of 8 also involves an EOR, so a challenge to the mark. It's a really interesting story. You're not going to want to miss it. Before we get to the show, I'd really appreciate it if you would give this show a 5-star rating on iTunes. 5 stars really helps expand the audience of the show, which makes the show better. It puts me in touch with more people. I will receive emails from more people that have achieved success on the IELTS. It means more great stories for you, and it means a greater audience for me, so everybody wins. And one last thing before we get to this episode, there are people on IELTS Network that are in need of our help. They are in corners of the planet where their financial situation does not allow them to take the IELTS. So if you are in a position to do so, please come to IELTSnetwork.com, and if you could donate whatever you can. This money is not going to waste. These are people just like you, just like me. They're out there. They just want to do their exam and get on with their life, but they can't because they're in a financial situation that won't allow them to do that. So if you could come and help us out, that would be great. Okay, I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome to IELTS Cast. Today I'm speaking with Nura, an IELTS candidate from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Nura has a very unique case that we're going to get into today. She took her first IELTS. She made her first attempt in June of last year, and she finished with an overall of 6.5. And just recently this year, in September of 2015, she took the IELTS for the third time, and she finished with an overall band of 8 with individual scores of 8.5, 8.5, and that's in listening and reading, 7.5 in writing, and 7.5 in speaking. And that 7.5 in writing was increased from 6.5 after she challenged the mark via EOR. So she has a very interesting experience that we're going to get into today. So I'd like to welcome Nura to the show. Thank you for coming on the show with me today, Nura.
Thank you. Thank you so much for hosting me.
So, Nura, let's start by talking a bit about your personal relationship to the IELTS. Why did you take the exam?
To be honest, I was never introduced to the IELTS exam until I was, was so close to graduation, because I knew that it's required for both postgraduate programs. So the first time I did it, I thought that it's something just to test my, let's say, English abilities or English skills. So I went there without any clue, without any preparation, any kind of preparation, and I went there. I was very confident of my level. Mm-hmm. And then I got shocked, especially after the reading score. Mm-hmm. And I did it for the reason that I want to compete for or let's say to join the postgraduate studies, and some jobs, they also require the IELTS.
I see. So now you're making reference to this attempt you made in June of last year, in June of 2014.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
yes.
And so in that specific attempt, so there was no preparation, and you came out with a 6.5.
Yeah, I did not have any idea about the IELTS. I thought it's just going to be something like a piece of cake, but unfortunately it wasn't.
That's the first attempt, and so you have this shock where you and you mentioned the reading mark in particular, which I have in front of me. It was 5.5. So you come out of this experience and you're shocked, and then you take the exam again a month later, and you receive the same mark. You receive another 6.5. So maybe just walk us through that experience. I mean, what was different about the second time you took the IELTS?
The second time, I did not do like a full research about the IELTS, but I had like a background about it. I read things from your post, your YouTube channel, and so on, but I did not have like full preparation. So I went there, and when I saw that the grades are different, especially when it comes to the speaking, I got in the first time 7.5, mm-hmm. and then in the second time I got 7. Mm-hmm. So I knew there is something missing. Maybe the strategies that I'm following, it's not only testing my English abilities or my English skills, mm-hmm. but it's actually, I think it's testing my ability to take the tests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I knew that there are some strategies that I should follow. That's why I started working from like, I don't want to lie. I did not work for a whole year, but I worked better, let's say, for the third time.
Yeah, it's interesting that
Yeah.
I mean, you took the exam two different times within a very short period of time, and
Yes.
that opened your eyes to what you're saying is the fact that there is a lot of strategy that goes along with taking the IELTS. It's not 100% about your skill level. Then
Exactly.
1 year later, you take the exam for the third time. And this is the results are completely different. So, like I was saying in the intro, it's 8.5 listening, 8.5 reading, 7.5 in writing, and 7.5 in speaking. So that was made in September 2015. How far before that did you start your preparation?
My preparation was actually, let's say, my real preparation was before that. Within I was studying for 2 weeks maybe. I was studying for 2 weeks maybe.
Oh, okay.
But before that, I was always checking some YouTube videos, listening to some lectures, and trying to make my English better in general.
Right.
But the real studying was before 2 weeks only.
Now, were you focusing on improving your language skills, or was it more just focusing on how to engage the exam successfully?
Engage the exam successful. That's what I was doing in the 2 weeks. But before that, I was trying to improve my English in general.
You're right.
Before that, I used to listen to music all the time, to listen to songs, watch movies, listen to lectures, read some research papers. I was trying to improve my language in general.
Right.
But that was on a daily basis. And then before the exam, I would say, in the period of 2 weeks, I started to look more into the strategies and so on.
If you were to compare your English level in, say, September of 2014, after you finished the first two attempts, and your English level in September of 2015, how would you compare those two levels? Are they different?
Yes, they are different, I think, in only the formal way.
Okay.
Because I think in people who are not speaking the English, or people who are not natives of English, they don't actually see the difference between formal and informal, or between slang and, let's say, academic.
Okay.
So my problem was that I always hear songs or watch movies which are talking in which the language there is slang, and that was my biggest problem, I think.
Okay.
I did not have this thin line, between the two. It's not like Arabic. We have it's very different. The formal language and the let's say informal language. It's very different, but not like in English. It's not the same in English, I mean.
Okay. So now, can you share a few strategies that you used over the course of that year when you were just kind of improving your general language? What strategies do you think most helped?
To be honest, songs, I think. Watching the YouTube songs with the lyrics, I think that helped me a lot to improve my, let's say, listening abilities, to be more specific. Also reading. I needed some reading and research papers and so on, because that helped me to, let's say, enhance my vocabulary or academic vocabulary.
And it's interesting
that helped me a lot.
You referenced vocabulary in particular. So how were you learning new words? I mean, were you keeping a journal? And if so, how often were you reviewing?
Yes, I would write them on my phone, on the notes.
Okay.
Or I would when you read some sentences repeatedly, you would memorize them with time. You don't need to write them down. You just get used to the words. But I really worked on the reading and writing. But I did not work on the listening and speaking a lot, because I didn't think I had a problem with either of those.
I see. Okay, now let's get then to this past experience that happened in September 2015. So 2 weeks before this exam attempt, you're focusing on exam strategies. So why don't you take the floor and just tell us about this 2-week period, and why don't you go through the different skills and how you approach them?
Okay. The thing that inspired me was the YouTube video that you uploaded about the two candidates. One of them got 9 and the other got 8.
Right, yeah. Vidit and Toby.
Yes, exactly, yes. I used their strategies. The thing that I changed in this time was in the reading part. I did not read the paragraphs. I only read the questions and then looked for answers. And this made a lot, or let's say this made a big different than the previous times, because this time I have some time to even revise my answers, which I didn't have in the previous 2 times. I was barely finishing the part. So this is the most important strategy that I would advise anyone to follow.
Okay, now let's break that down even further, Nura. So you were reading through the questions, but specifically, were you kind of going through 2 questions and underlining keywords and then going to find the answers, or were you going one?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, that's what I was doing. I was underlining the most important things, and then I tried to scan the paragraph looking for the words, and that helped me a lot. I made 8.5, which is something I did not dream of, because after the first time I did the reading, I never felt that stupid after getting out of the exam. It was very overwhelming, I would say, the reading experience. It was very hard for me. But I think I took the advice they said, which was not reading the whole paragraph or the whole essay. I would only read the questions, because especially the essays that they provide, I'm not used to them. They either talk about things in politics or things about space, things about, I don't know, like geography, things that I'm not used to read about. I read usually about news or research papers that I'm interested in. I don't read about these kinds of things, like historical events and so on. So that was something I worked on. Also, I tried to practice at home, especially in reading and writing. I tried to read some essays and time myself, like while taking the exam. I also used some strategies when it comes to rating. I tried to look more into the first part, and I tried to learn more vocabulary for it, like increased, jumped to those things, especially that it's going to talk about, I think, what was it? Talk about reports, right? And then the second part was about the, let's say, about the essay, which is kind of easy for me. It wasn't as difficult as the first part, because I'm used to writing essays when I was in college, but I wasn't used to writing reports. So my main problem was with the first part in writing and reading in general, of course.
And how about the listening?
I don't think I have a problem with the listening. I'm actually still wondering why I got 6 from the first place, because I thought that I did better. I did good, except for the part where they say the numbers, because I can't catch. Like, they say it very fast, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what, like the telephone number and so on. I couldn't catch it, so I didn't catch it in the 3 times, all the 3 times.
Okay, so
that, yeah.
Oh no, sorry. So yeah, and so you scored 6 in the first exam, 6.5 in the second exam, and then 8.5 in the third exam for listening.
Yes.
But what you're saying is that would you attribute that to all of the work that you did over that year?
Yes, I think yes, exactly. Okay. Listening to lectures, listening to songs in English, and so on. All of these things really helped.
Okay, so it wasn't so much
also watching some shows and so on.
I see. So it wasn't so much the 2 weeks of focus on IELTS strategy beforehand. It was more kind of the overall arc of your studies over the past year.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And were there any, though, listening strategies that you followed? Because if you remember from that interview that you referenced with Vidit and with Toby, one thing that was interesting about those 2 guys is they followed the same strategy when it came to listening, which was doing a lot of previewing the questions before those sections come.
Yes, definitely. Okay. I did that.
Okay.
I did it in all the 3 times, to be honest. But maybe in the first 2 times I did not... or let's say I did not listen to a lot of English speakers before the exam. It's not like the 3rd time. But in all the 3 times, I did actually read the questions before listening to the audio. If I listened to the audio before reading the questions, I don't think I would answer any of the questions.
Okay. So now let's get to the area that you and I wanted to focus on in this interview, and that's the experience that you had around your inquiry over the results that you received, the EOR, which bumped your markup from 6.5 to 7.5. So can you just run us through, I mean, what was going through your head? Why did you feel that you wanted to challenge this mark? What was the entire experience there?
Okay. To be honest, in the beginning, I did not want to send my let's say, or I did not want to challenge the grade after reading the comments in the internet, because a lot of people said that they sent their grades, but they did not change them. So it was like a waste of time and money. So I did not want to do that. But after I thought about it, I did take 6 in the first time, and I'm 100% positive that I did way better in the last time. So there is no way that I would have the exact same mark. I can't have that, because I'm sure that I did way better than the previous 2 times. So that's why I started rethinking about it. And then my mom and my friend, they all said, just give it a last try. Just give it a try. Maybe things would change. You never know. So I was actually looking for a 7 when I sent the grades or the score to be remarked. And then, as they say, miracles happen when you're about to give up. I was really this close to giving up, but I sent them and I got what I wanted.
Yeah, yeah. That must have been just a mistake on the examiner's part when they were marking it. I mean,
Yes,
I've heard
exactly.
Yeah.
I also heard that people, even those who changed their marks, they did not jump to like a whole grade.
Yeah.
They would only change it like a half or something.
Yeah.
But you can see here both parts, they jumped to 7.5, which is a lot.
Yeah, it is. So then, just tell us about the you received this letter. Well, how did you? Firstly, was it a letter, or how were you notified that the mark was going to be improved?
Yeah, I in the beginning I went to them and then I paid for it for the remark.
Yeah.
And then they told me you might have a reply or let's say an answer within 2 months to 3 months. So that's what I got. I think it's after 3 months I got an email.
Yeah.
Which said, or I sent you the picture, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. The form they sent to me. So they told me that you have your papers now ready. You can come and collect them if you want, and you're going to have a refund.
Yeah, so that must have been a good feeling. That must have been a nice feeling.
It is. I was crying, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes.
Oh, that's great news. So, and so then I guess that sort of is the last chapter in your IELTS experience, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what can you do now that you've achieved this in IELTS?
Yes. Usually the postgraduate programs or any job, let's say, or any jobs and so on, they usually ask for 6 or 6.5.
Yeah.
But I did not want to be on the edge. I don't want to be on the edge exactly. I want to compete or to have more opportunities. So I did not like the idea of having only 6.5. So now that I have the 8, which is something I think I can compete with, I'm satisfied. Now I can, let's say, apply to different universities if I want. I can apply to different jobs with confidence,
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about in the interview?
It's all about the strategies, because they're not actually, your English language is more than only 4 hours, I think. They can't examine all your English ability in 4 hours.
Right.
I don't think this is... you're more than one test that this is what I'm trying to say. The person's ability are more than one exam, but it's all about strategies. They're testing the way that you're taking the exam or the way that you can manage your time and you can manage your...
Yeah, and a couple of people that I've talked to recently, I don't know if you listened to that episode 2 back with David from Germany, but they really, these people really emphasize the importance that candidates train for endurance and have the energy to kind of be strong for 4 straight hours. So would you say...
Yes, that's one thing I want to add.
Yeah.
And the first time I went to the exam sleeping only for 3 hours. I was that confident in the first try.
Yeah.
So I was not very, let's say, alert and very ready to take the exam. But in the last time, I slept well. I ate my breakfast. I was there ready and prepared and fully alerted for taking the exam.
Okay.
So that's something I did not do in the first 2 times. And I think people get nervous, and it's natural before exams, so they wouldn't sleep well and so on, but it's something very important.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
And did taking practice exams, did that play a part at all in your preparation?
Yes, it did,
Yeah.
definitely. Because as you just said, when you're thinking that you're good, and then you're seeing what you're doing in the exam, those two things are completely different. So you need to try to take the test, try to get yourself used to the way of the questions, try to get used to the timing as well. You should put all of these things in your mind, because when you go to the exam, you get shocked by the way everything is happening so quickly and so on. I know that I was thinking 4 hours I can do a lot in 4 hours, but actually no, everything happens so fast, and you barely have time to finish all the questions.
Right.
So you need to get used to it.
And reading and writing, you were studying mainly on your own, I guess. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. But it was, of course, as you can, I think, assume, they were all online, and I had like the Cambridge book. I think everyone has it.
Yes. Yeah.
The IELTS Cambridge book for the, I don't know, preparation stuff.
Yeah. So, what would you say to an individual that is similar to the way you were operating this time last year, which is they're at a 6.5. They want to break through that 7 barrier. They've tried the exam a couple of times, but they just can't do it. What's your advice to them?
Yes. I know people who did it like 5, 8 times, and they're having the same grades. I think the problem is that you're having the same strategies. You need to change the strategies that you're using. This does not mean that your English is not good. Mm-hmm. This does not mean that you're, let's say, you're not smart enough or any of that sort. No, it just means that you need to change your ways. You can't have a different grade if you're following the same things again and again. So this is the thing that I realized before taking the third exam. I changed my ways. I changed the strategies that I used. I tried to look at other people's experiences and see what they did and how did they do it. And I tried to apply that on the test that I was taking at home before even taking it in the exam itself or in the IELTS itself. So I think that you should only change your ways and see what suits you best. What suits me does not mean that it's going to suit you as well. Just try different strategies. And I don't know, just don't give up, because when I was about to give up, I got the thing that I wanted. So I think it's only about hard work and continuous, continuous trying and continuous hope.
So there you have it, everybody listening. You have to continue experimenting, and you cannot give up. Those are Nura's 2 pieces of advice. Nura, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been a really insightful piece. Thank you.
Thank you so much.